Sati, Samādhi, Paññā. Mindfulness, Sati, concentration, Samādhi, and wisdom, Paññā, are all treasures inherent in every human. Regardless of the era, every person is born into this world with innate mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. During infancy, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom exist, but do not function or manifest. At 2 to 3 years of age, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom begin to function. This is comparable to the mango tree that exists within the mango seed. If the seed is sliced open, the mango tree cannot be seen. Once the seed is planted in soil, the mango tree will sprout from the mango seed on its own. This is analogous to mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom during baby years. At 2 to 3 years of age, the child possesses mindful awareness of various things. Focused concentration in action and speech is apparent. The wisdom to consider before acting or speaking is in line with the wisdom of those childhood years. The baby doesn't yet know the difference between what is wrong action, wrong speech, and wrong thought, and what is right action, right speech, and right thought. But once the child grows up, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom will be fully operational. Without righteousness, moral shame, hiri, and moral fear, ottappa, the mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom they possess can all become tools used to commit evil actions, evil speech, and evil thoughts. This will lead to wrong mindfulness, miccā sati, and wrong concentration, miccā samādhi. Wisdom will be applied toward thinking about various things in the wrong way, like thinking selfishly and putting personal interests or the welfare of one's own faction first. These are malevolent fools who are unafraid of wrongdoing and solely think of personal benefit. They are self-interested and find pleasure at the cost of the suffering of others. These selfish people are not lauded by the wise. They are detested by society. This is how mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom are used in unrighteous ways and unknowingly develop into wrong mindfulness, wrong concentration, and wrong wisdom. This is likened to a weapon that is fierce, powerful, and capable of great destruction. If this weapon is in the hands of policemen or soldiers, it can be used to conquer enemies in any situation. But if the weapon falls into the hands of your enemy, you will always be defeated. Therefore, practitioners must possess correct perceptions of the truth, samādhi, as the foundation for mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. The Buddha proclaimed the religion and disseminated the Dhamma to the Buddhist company. He explained and clarified what was wrong and what was right to the Buddhist company so that they would understand. He provided reason to clearly support how wrong action leads to wrong results and how wrong speech leads to wrong results. Most importantly, if someone possesses wrong views, their actions and speech will consequently be wrong. This is because everyone inherently possesses wrong views, only they do not realize that they are wrong views. As such, they habitually act wrongly and speak wrongly. Accordingly, the Buddha used examples and drew comparisons based on principles of reasoning in order to help Dhamma listeners accept the truth. That which the Buddha taught people was Sacca Dhamma, or the indisputable truths that exist in every person born into this world. These indisputable truths are old. The Buddha drew on old stories that exemplified typical human behaviors as a teaching method. In other words, he used stories about people to teach people. Beforehand, certain viewpoints were perceived as true and accurate. After the Buddha stated that those viewpoints were in fact false, those who listened with rational wisdom were able to accept the truth. The Buddha necessitated that people first identify their faults. Upon knowing your faults, it is possible to change wrong views into right views, or that which is called samādhi, views that are correct and righteous. Once right views arise in the mind in this way, this is when an individual's wisdom has arisen. Wrong is viewed as wrong. Right is viewed as right. The difference between wrong action and right action, wrong speech and right speech, and wrong thought and right thought can be immediately discerned. That which is wrong is detested by all, thus it must be shed. That which is righteous is praised by the wise. As the mind trains in cultivating correct views in this fashion, understand that wisdom has arisen within you. Although it is wisdom at a worldly level, at least it is Dhamma at a worldly level. In other words, it is clearly knowing the Dhamma and seeing the Dhamma that are the world's indisputable truths. Doesn't all Dhamma exist in this world? With clear knowledge and true realization of the reality of the world, why continue to be infatuated with it? Those who frequently cycle through birth and death in this world are infatuated with the world. That is why they cling to the world and have been continuously reborn in the world up until the present time, and will continue to be infatuated with the world in endless future rebirths. This is the wrong perception that the world is pleasant and fitting to live in. Mindfulness, Sati, concentration, Samādhi, and comprehensive insight according to the truth, Paññā, are all primary weapons for those with the Paññā Vimutti character. Other topics of Dhamma practice are only secondary or supporting weapons used in appropriate tasks. Each individual's character is not the same. This is likened to people afflicted with various ailments. The doctor must prescribe different medications, and the patients must rely on the doctor to check their symptoms and analyze X-ray films in order to accurately diagnose the ailment. If the doctor is knowledgeable, he may make the proper decision as to whether to prescribe medicine or if surgery is necessary. If the doctor uses the proper method of treatment, the patient will be able to recover from the ailment. Dhamma practice is identical in that respect. Mindfulness, Sati, concentration, Samādhi, and wisdom, Paññā, must be developed in order to serve as an X-ray machine that illuminates the images of defilements and desires that exist within the mind. You must find a way to surgically remove defilements and desires from the mind. At this point, are you qualified to be a surgeon? Do you possess comprehensive knowledge of defilements and desires yet? If you do not know and see these defilements and desires, how will you destroy them? Those who are capable of shedding defilements, desires, and mental intoxications, asava, must be replete and primed with mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom in order to eradicate various defilements and desires from the mind. Another analogy can be made to a military general going out to battle its enemy. The general must be ready with the following 3 things. 1. Supplies. 2. Weapons. 3. Troops. Upon entering actual battle, there must be a group of spies spent to gauge the strength of the enemy. The enemy also possesses food supplies, weapons, and troops. The first thing is to seize the enemy's food supplies, because once the food supplies have been cut off, there will be a greater chance of victory. The same applies to those who practice Dhamma for the purpose of extinguishing defilements and desires. Practitioners must know how to cut off the supplies that fuel defilements and desires, namely, forms, sounds, scents, tastes, and touch, or in other words, the 5 sensual pleasures, kamaguna. The defilements and desires that arise in the mind in the form of greed, lopa, anger, dosa, delusion, moha, and ignorance, avijja, do so because the mind is pleased by and lusts for forms, sounds, scents, tastes, and touch. It is deluded by these 5 sense pleasures. Cutting off supplies refers to being cautious, such that the mind is neither pleased nor displeased by the 5 sense pleasures. On the surface, these 5 sense pleasures seem coarse and of a basic level. After proper consideration, it is clear that they are relevant to the preliminary, intermediate, as well as the most advanced and refined level of practice. If an individual sheds the 5 sense pleasures in their entirety, they will attain enlightenment at the non-returner, anagami, or arahant level. Very few are able to practice Dhamma at this advanced level. I have only explained it for your knowledge. As for the Dhamma stage of the stream enterers, Sotapanna, and the Dhamma stage of the once returners, Sakadagami, the 5 sense pleasures have not yet been extinguished. A prime example of this is Visakha. According to historical accounts, she achieved stream entry at the age of 7. During her teenage years, she was delighted by and lusted for the 5 sense pleasures, consequently married and had 20 children. Studying and understanding the history of each Arya Bukkala, or each group of Arya Bukkalas, will make it easier to practice Dhamma and select Dhamma topics to use to develop wisdom. This is because the Buddha clearly set forth the steps within each Dhamma topic. These steps and Dhamma topics are specific to each Dhamma stage. The Dhamma for the Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arahant stages are clearly and thoroughly detailed in the manuals. Whether practicing the Dhamma that will lead to the ultimate attainment of final enlightenment will be easy or difficult depends on each practitioner's degree of individual mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom, as well as how coarse or refined these three qualities are. Scholarly knowledge cannot be regarded as mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. For example, many parents are illiterate and uneducated in terms of both the Dhamma and the world. Yet how do they have the mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom to teach their children and grandchildren to be virtuous individuals? Likewise, during the Buddha's era, those who didn't know any Dhamma topics were still able to achieve a level of holiness. During the Buddha's era, Dhamma books were not yet available for people to read. Those who were to understand the Dhamma had to listen to the Buddha and other Arya Bhukalas live and in person. In order for listeners of the Dhamma to understand the principles of the truth, they would have to have mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom while listening, as well as individual rationality in discernment. Many groups of people who listened to the Buddha's sermons subsequently awakened to the Dhamma. For instance, King Bimbisara and his court of 120,000 had not previously known the Buddha. They had no knowledge of Dhamma principles and no understanding of what the Dhamma was. They had not yet understood the concepts of mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom, despite the fact they already completely possessed and were primed with mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. Once they listened to the Buddha preach the Dhamma, they had the mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom to absorb the truth from him, and 110,000 of them attained the first level of enlightenment as Sotapannas. The remaining 10,000 dedicatedly took refuge in the Triple Gem. So, carefully consider this. When did they meditate until their minds, citta, became calm and wisdom emerged? People are replete and primed with mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. However, thus far, it has only been used in worldly tasks. Now, all that you must do is apply that mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom toward the Dhamma. It is not complicated or confusing at all.